Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to crumble!
I'm Joshua Kemble, and welcome to Joshua Kemble's Livestream. I've been a freelance illustrator and graphic designer for over 20 years. I was an art director for 9 years. And when I'm not art directing and working on illustrations and graphic designs, I'm working on comic books and graphic novels, and that's usually what I do during my streams. And while conversations can go all over the place on this stream, from spicy and entertaining to goofy and silly, one thing stays consistent throughout every stream. I'll always be working on art. So pull up a chair, get your art supplies out, and get ready for an entertaining show that'll keep you company while you work on your own personal art projects. This is Joshua Kemble's Art Stream. All right, welcome to my art stream 363. 363 of these guys. Come on. That's pretty awesome. Good morning, Dylan's in the chat. How's it going, guys? We're going to work on colors. I was planning on working on coloring this page last night, and I finished my workout. I've been trying to be more consistent with exercise and stuff like that. And it ended up being about like 11:30 or 12. So I was like, you know what? I can either stay up till like 2 in the morning and get this done, or I could just do it in the morning and have a functional life in the morning. So I decided I'm going to work on this in the morning, and that's where we are. So I woke up this morning still feeling inspired. For those of you who didn't see the last stream, I had recorded about 6 songs just in the last week, just in between things and stuff like that. And this morning, I knocked out like 2 more songs, so I'll probably be sharing those with you guys. It's just the music, no lyrics or vocals yet. And I think at this point, I think I'm going to do maybe 2 more and then maybe release it after I've done like vocals and melodies and lyrics and all that fun stuff. So I'll probably be sharing a little more music with you guys. And then what I'm mainly going to be doing is working on coloring page 106 of Not Death But Love, the Supernatural Story of Elizabeth Barrett Browning, which is the novel that I'm working on for Turner Publishing. And then if you noticed a little thing that says include paid promotion, that's because I will be suggesting and recommending that you guys, if you want to go shopping for cheap stuff, that you click the link for Wish. That's basically, did I say Wish for Temu? My goodness, I'm mixing up my cheap Chinese product companies, but for Temu, down in the show notes below, that's a good way to support the channel and get 30% off of an order if you put in the code that's down there in the show notes. So that's just a way to it's a site I use all the time for like various products, especially for guitars, markers. They have really good deals on cheap this kind of markers. They're pretty amazing. I love these things. But anyhow, they have deals like on there, so I would recommend it. And also, it gives me money if you guys buy stuff through there using the code that's in the show notes. Anyhow, so that being said, let's get into actually working on comics, and maybe I'll share some music while we do it. So I need to color this page. That's basically the objective today is to try to get these colored. I might end up doing a little bit of roughs or thumbnails tonight, depending on what time is looking like. But for this stream, I'm definitely gonna go ahead and color this page that we finished shading yesterday. I didn't finish shading all of it on stream, but yesterday, actually after the stream, I decided to go ahead and shade the last panel, and then fix the shading a little bit on panel 4 because I wasn't particularly happy with the lighting on that, and I feel like what I was missing last time on that fourth panel was the lighting coming from like his right side that would be kind of casting a little bit more of a shadow on the left. And I think that I had understood it yesterday when I was on stream. So I was struggling a little bit with that panel. It's funny, I don't struggle often with art panels anymore, especially 100 and something pages into a comic. You just get in kind of a flow where it just comes naturally. But every once in a while, you'll come across a panel where you're like, wow, I'm having like, you make newbie mistakes basically. And then you struggle through it. And luckily, I don't have a lot of those, but that was definitely one of them. I couldn't figure out for a while what wasn't working about it, but I finally pinpointed it and I think corrected it to where it's now passable. So what we're gonna do today is color fill. I'm gonna go ahead and make a new layer that's gonna be flat colors. And then we're gonna. I usually go ahead and fill everything within the panel borders, so I have like some nice flat selections. I think I just did. So let's see. And then once I have that, then it kind of looks like this. If I take off the background, now I have like a nice area of white beneath everything, and then below the panel the word balloons, I'll basically fill another layer of white. So I'm going to basically select everything that has transparent pixels that's basically behind the area that I'm going to use for flats, and that I'm going to also fill with white. And then we'll kind of move forward. So I think for this, we'll go panel by panel. It shouldn't take an incredibly long time. Again, if you guys are frequent viewers of the stream, you'll know that there's many times where I've said, "Oh, this shouldn't take that much time," and then hours later, right? I'm still working on the same thing, but I don't have a lot of areas here that don't need. I don't have a lot of areas here to flat color, which is nice. So I think these colors will go relatively quick. I also have the previous page pulled up so that we can pull colors from that and be consistent with the scene. And with colors on this comic, I think I've talked about this, but the thinking is it kind of takes place in the Victorian era. So my goal is to have it almost like a tinted photograph or a tinted illustration from the time. And so because of that, we're not getting too wild with the colors. It's mostly flat colors with maybe at most like a slight allowance for gradation in sky areas or areas where there's fire. And then sometimes I might even add lighting to it as well in a room where there's fire or in a sky, in a scene where there's like lighting coming from the sky. So those are kind of my limitations that I've imposed to kind of make this thing doable. And I've talked about that a little bit. Like when you're doing comics, like one of the things that I find, honestly, this is more than just comics. This is graphic design, illustrations, anything that you're doing creatively, even music. Setting limitations for yourself, like is a real beneficial way to actually get some progress done on your creative projects. If you ever find yourself like frozen because you have too many options, you just need to limit your options. And by limiting options, it actually kind of frees you up to be more creative. And so when I talk about these like guidelines where it's like, oh, I can't use this kind of gradient or this kind of thing in my project, it's because that's a self-imposed limitation. It's not like my publisher's telling me that. It's just kind of what it is, right? So anyhow, what I was thinking about doing, Dylan was saying, when will you learn, Josh? I think that's in regards to me being like, and this shouldn't take that much time. Um, I think, you know what, this is a little side note, but I think that in order to do comics or animation, you have to have a bit of memory loss. I think sometimes it benefits you to be able to default to like, oh, this won't take that long, because these things take so long. I found out yesterday while on stream that Paul Pate had thanked me in the back of his latest Detective Perez book, and that literally made my day. It was very meaningful. Um, it's funny because I've written thanks in book to people, and I always consider it like a really nice thing. But I haven't received a ton. I've received a few, but like anytime I do, I'm like I forget how cool that is to have somebody thank you in their book. It's really quite flattering and cool. So um, anyhow, I appreciate that Paul did that, and that somehow I've managed to inspire some people out there. So that's kind of the goal. So here, what we're gonna do is just basically slam through the flats on this page. I am very excited. It's a Sunday morning, and we have a lot ahead of us. I am gonna be doing. I think I've mentioned this, but I do a music collaboration with my friend every Sunday, and generally we get together around like noon or 11 to kind of hang out for a couple hours and write songs. And we're about almost to our last song. Like we started recording the last song for the next No Sabbath album, and so we have like one to go before I can share that music. And then we're working out logistics with my friend Jake, who is our new drummer, and an old drummer in the sense that I learned music with. he's he's one of the original dudes from my old band. But anyhow, point being, we have one song left to do, but today we're going to be doing it a little bit later than usual because there's family stuff that's going on. So we're going to be doing that around like 5. So that makes it even more essential that I get this done, because if I get this done, that's going to buy me time to print out some lesson plan stuff for the week, and also to work on the next set of thumbnails for the next set of pages, because this will actually catch me up on the thumbnails that I have so far. If that doesn't make sense, I guess I'll just kind of explain. So my process, and most people who are doing art, right, have a similar process where like thumb out. I do little roughs of each page so that I can work out the layout and the logistics of it with a really loose drawing. And I try to do that in little chunks so that I can then send those to my publisher. They're roughs, so they can get a rough idea of what things are going to look like, and then from there, like hopefully approve them, and or whatever changes need to be done. And that way we're not losing a lot of time if changes need to be made. And it also helps to work out the scene, and like especially when you're working sequentially, it's like with single illustrations you might be able to pull off every once in a while doing without doing roughs, but with sequential stuff, I feel like with comics or animation, you're going to end up losing a lot of time if you don't kind of board out or storyboard or rough what you're planning on working on. Because once you see it visually, it's easier to kind of go, oh, okay, I need to modify this sequence. It's easier to try new ideas or try different angles or try, different dots. And anyhow, so I basically have done all like up to 106 rough, and now we're finishing page 106. So once this is finished, I'll be in a good position to kind of move forward and do rough. And when I do roughs, I like to live stream as well. So we'll see if that's possible to do live streams while roughing out the next chunk of pages as well. But if I end up doing that, that'll most likely be much later in the day. So the early morning stream today, we're just doing flat colors and kind of seeing where things from there. I love hearing what you guys are up to. So please feel free to share whatever projects or things you're up to, or are you just getting ready for the morning? And it's always fun to hear from you guys. So my hope is that I can get all of this flat colored by lunchtime. That's kind of my hope. Then have lunch, and then be done with at least the comicking that I need to get completed. So this is kind of a beast of a project. It's like I'm now at a point where I have to do a minimum of like 11 pages. I think I looked at it today, and I think I need to hit about 11 pages per month in order to kind of hit the deadline, and that's feasible. I don't think that's impossible. Right now, what I'm doing is deselecting the colors, and then I should share the new songs. So let me know in the chat if you guys want to hear 2 more songs. I played a whole bunch of them yesterday. I think the 6 that I have so far. But would you like to hear number 7 and 8? I'm pretty stoked on them. One of them is more kind of shoegazy, and then the other is more of like a kind of atmospheric like a little bit post-hardcore, but not so much. It's a little more optimistic and happy, but they're very interesting songs with like driving rhythms, and I'm kind of excited about them. So we'll see. And I'm also noticing that like one thing that I've been trying to kind of pay attention to a lot with the songs that I've been recording recently is I am noticing, I'm a guy who like musically, like I have mostly done guitar and can play bass, but I'm not like a bassist. And so one thing that I'm starting to really start paying attention to, and I've been doing this in No Saboteur stuff as well, is really making sure that I'm in the pocket with the bass drum. Like that there's this thing that I keep admiring about other bassists. You'll notice with like a pretty decent bassist, generally they're going to be in the pocket with the bass drum. So whenever that kick drum hits on the set, the drummer is hitting the kick drum, and you're going to hear the bass hit at that exact time in line with the bass drum or the kick drum. And so it's really interesting because like when you hear really good bassists, they'll do that even like almost deceptively, where they're like hitting it at the same time as the kick, but then also doing fills on top of that. But they're always in time and in the pocket with the kick drum. So that's something I've been trying to pay more attention to, where it's like tempting to follow the guitar. Like if the guitar is doing like a 4/4, it's tempting to play a 4/4 just following the guitar. Being a guitarist, it's more tempting to do that with playing the bass. But if it's a 4/4 beat and the kick drum is hitting on the 2 and the 4, I'm trying to get better at following that kick, and maybe the bass, instead of doing a 4/4 with the guitar, is doing the 2 and the 4 with the bass. So for anybody who actually like does music, that'll make sense. Cool. Dylan wants to hear the other songs, so we're gonna play those. Dylan also said, when you said get the Limp Bizkit of it, I thought you said get the Limp Bizkit of it. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, let's play some more music. So let me play let's just play this. I guess this would be the 7th song that I've recorded in the last week. Here it is. And right now what I'm doing is just deselecting the gray areas on this pan. This one's a little more atmospheric, a little more shoegazy. Nice. Dylan said my day has been slow, just chilling. However, a couple hours ago, I knew my recliner's remote light went out. The plug was slightly out of the socket, so I pushed it back in. Nice. You have a recliner that's got some like hardcore mechanics to it, I guess. That sounds pretty rad. So this is a good example of what I was talking about being in the pocket with the bass drum, where it's going up, 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 right? The bass is hitting a toot, toot, toot. And so I'm trying to play the boo, 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 boo instead of the playing with the guitar, which is on a 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then here, there's more of a rhythm kind of rolling, so then it can go right. It's going with the falling crash. Okay, so that is one of the songs. If it starts cycling again, don't worry, I'll stop it right now. I just had to finish that selection. Okay, so now we're going to listen to song number 8, and let me know your thoughts. And we have finished flat colors for one of the panels at this point, which is kind of exciting. I'm loving how quickly this is going. So hopefully that continues. Jim saying, "Hey there, Josh. The music is fantastic. Loving the mood it creates. Nice. I can't wait. It's funny. I've just been. It's that stretch is so inspiring. At some point though, I'm gonna have to pull out the 338. Just kind of see what we can get." Oh, Jim. I think it was yesterday where I listened to American Fist again. That is one of the funniest things I've ever heard. It's amazing. I was saying you can barely hear me. Here, I'll turn it down a little bit. So I was just saying I was listening to American Fist, which is a great album, legendary album by Living Stone. Yes, so those are the two. Let me go ahead and stop music now. Oh, hold on. So anyhow, that's some previews of two more songs that I'm doing. Jim said American Fist is an American classic. Yes, it's pretty amazing. If you guys want to know what I'm talking about, you should go to Jim Luhan's channel and on YouTube and look for American Fist by, I believe, Livingstone. Is that the gentleman that made that album? It's pretty great. Pretty great. All right. So now what I'm doing is, again, just kind of going through picking everything that's going to be an area of white. And we're just going to deselecting that. And then from there, I think I'll probably do his eye color now, pulling the colors from the previous page. And maybe we'll do her eye color next. I know that his eye color is also the color of his shoes and his vest. So we will make this vest selection here. Yeah, so hopefully you guys are having a pretty good morning. I saw some footage on like Twitter of like, I think it was like an asteroid or a meteor or something. It was crazy. It just looked really interesting, and I think it was like in Norway or something. But it was sort of insane. And I was thinking, how cool is it that how things look in outer space? They look pretty rad from here. Yeah, maybe some of you guys know more details about that. I thought it was really fascinating. I didn't have time to go down the rabbit hole on that one. So if any of you guys did, let me know. Let me know what that was about. You know what? I want to do her hair now, and we'll just blast through this. Dylan said I should watch older Artcasters episode because I'm hankering for more Artcasters. We have a whole bunch in the doc, you know. So I have like a playlist on my YouTube, so you can actually just go through the playlist with Artcasters on there and kind of run through all the Artcasters episodes. It's pretty cool. I think that Scott also has a playlist on his channel. I believe Corey also has an Artcasters playlist on his channel. So either way, it kind of collects them all, so that you don't have to bounce from channel to channel. So that is a nice little resource if you want to dig back in the archives. It's funny, I rarely re-listen to episodes we've done in the past, but I do think it would be fun to revisit ones from quite a few years ago just to see it. You know, one of the things nice about doing a show for that long is I wonder if I'd listen back and hear things that I say and go, wow, what is this idiot talking about? Like, you know, because some of those episodes are like 5 years old, you know, or whatever. And it's like, I wonder if I still agree with me from 5 years ago, you know, or I might be like, I've changed my opinion on that. It'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to go back. I almost wonder if I should do some commentary on older videos where I comment on it as if I'm listening to a different person. I can be like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about, and it's myself. That would be kind of funny. Have you guys ever done that? Like, had like an old appearance or conversation or something, and then revisited it and been like, I don't know about this dude. I've always felt that way about, you know, myself as a teenager or in my early 20s, you know. I remember when I was in my early 20s, I had strong opinions about, you know, parenting and never, like, you know, I don't know. I think at that point I was so young. I thought I would never have a kid and all sorts of stuff like that. And boy, did my mind change on that, where it's like, man, if I met a young 20-year-old talking like I was when I was in my 20s, I'd be like, you don't know what you're saying. Like, you're young. You'll figure it out. But it's always interesting. And it's interesting when you see other, you know, I guess this is part of what's fun about kind of getting older, but you start seeing people who are like a young you, and meeting like younger version of you who says something that a younger you would have said and been like very passionate and convicted about, and you're like, yep, that'll pass. You know. But it's also interesting because you're like, some of that stuff, you know, it's like you can't tell someone at that age, like, well, what you're saying will pass. Like, you'll change your mind on that one. Because if you do, like, what are you saying? I'm young. What, you know? And I get it because I was there too. But it's an interesting point to get to in life with that kind of thing. But I do wonder, like, I don't know, has anyone done that, like, time travel story where somebody just like meets themselves and is like, oh man, this guy's a jerk. You know what I mean? They meet like teenage themselves and are like, oh man. I guess there's stuff like the Parent Trap that used to be like it's not quite a time travel, but it's like a swap where you swap to back to a different age, and then from that, like they gain better understanding of each other or whatever. But it's like, nah, I feel like I think, you know what, I might be wrong, but I think that might have been what Alex Robinson did, that too cool to be forgotten book, and I think that might have been the premise. It's been a long time since I read it. Which, by the way, if you guys are out there and you're fans of graphic novels, I feel personally, and I really like Alex Robinson for multiple reasons. I think he's a genius writer, and I love his graphic novels and his art. I also think he's just a really cool guy. That guy has provided me with pull quotes for almost every book I've ever put out, which is really cool. And he never needed to do that. But let me put it this way: if somebody were making a list of underrated cartoonists, like cartoonists who never really got their due, and I know, Robinson has been nominated for Eisners and stuff like that, so he's gotten credit. But I feel like Box Office Poison is one of those books that often gets left off of lists of really great graphic novels. And don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of good stuff by Alex Robinson, but the point being, Box Office Poison is a straight up classic. Like that would be up there on my like top graphic novels of all time. And I feel like he quite often gets kind of shortchanged in the conversation of comics. Anyhow, so I'm just saying, if you guys want to check out a great graphic novel, if you haven't read Box Office Poison by Alex Robinson, I highly recommend it. Okay, so we are getting through, and I mean, that book got some buzz when it came out, but I feel like in the past few years it just hasn't quite gotten its due. I don't know if that makes sense. Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, we're almost there on this selection, and now I need to get the couch. Yeah, we're rocking this, guys. Jim said the Artcasters with special guest Kevin Spacey didn't really hold up too well. Yeah, that when we had the Weinstein Company on to talk about their indie film. Yeah, and we thought it was a really great get when we got Cosby on, because we were like, man, this guy's a legend. The Cosby Show. Some of this stuff doesn't age well, is all I'm saying, from the Artcasters. But you can dig back in the archives and see what ages well and what doesn't. Let's see here. Dylan said, I found Scott a few years ago on his How to Comic series, and I subbed for the past few years, and I saw the thumbnail for Artcasters. I was like, but now I'm hankering for more. Nice. Well, I'm glad. Dylan also said, I support child-free people, even though they will never. But I've heard multiple stories of child-free people change their mind. So never say never. I think that it's kind of like if you meet a young student who gets really mad about theory or art, like they see like a Pollock painting and they're like, that's not art, that's splattering and that's ridiculous. And they get all pissed about it and like really worked up about it. And they think theory is BS. They get really mad about theory. That's a good sign of somebody who eventually is going to really like theory. Because the fact that they're getting so worked up about it means they think there is correct theory. Like they get worked because they think there is such a thing as art. It's the people who don't really care and are just like, meh. Like those people may not ever get there. But I feel that way with the kid thing, where if somebody's really passionate about it, quite often that is the indication of somebody who will probably end up having a kid. If somebody's passionately talking about how they will never, generally that will probably be somebody who, decade later you'll meet their kid. Whereas like if somebody's just like, meh, whatever, I don't know, who knows? Like that's probably somebody who maybe they won't have a kid, But there's something about passion is like a tell with younger people for like what they'll become. I don't know if that makes sense. Because if they're like passionate against something, like quite often they'll be for it later on. I don't know if that makes sense. That's just a wild theory I have, but I definitely noticed that with younger people, especially younger people that are like, "I'm never having kids" or whatever. It's like, yeah, I'll see you in 10 years when you're pushing a stroller. And the funny thing is, people who were my age then told me the same thing, and I'd just be like, "Whatever," you know. But they were right. Like it is funny how that works. So I don't know. That's like one of those things of like the wisdom of age where you're not always gonna, when you're young, you just get like, I don't know, when somebody's young, they're not gonna like acknowledging that someone older than them might know a little more or might have more experience with something, be able to kind of tell something like that. Okay, we have 2 panels done, and now is a perfect time, now that we've been talking to Mr. Lujan, let's play the third in the trilogy. The third in a trilogy of Kemble cartoons. We're going to go ahead and play them. We'll play, if I can find it. Yes, the Home Shopping Kemble. Here it is. Enjoy. This is made by Lujan, and listen to it. All right, I'll be right back.
Well, thank you, Colleen. I hope your daughter Kelly does well at North Carolina State this year. Well, we got another caller on the line. Elizabeth from Phoenix, Arizona. Elizabeth, what can we do for you? Are you ready to do some shopping, girl?
Oh, yes, Terry. I am ready to do some shopping today. I'm interested in that 2-book set you have. 2 Stories and Jacob's Apartment.
Oh, well, that's a great choice.
In fact, I bought these books before. I gave a set to my grandson, Hunter. These books are amazing.
Well, they sure are, and if you buy both of them, you really get the whole feel of the whole Joshua Kemble universe. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do, Terry. These books are remarkable because, for one, you can take them anywhere. You could put them in your car, and you can go to the park or the river. We've gone to the river. My husband Taylor and I, we just love it. And I murdered my husband at the river. Yeah, I did. But these still are amazing books.
And if you guys like that, you should check that out. It is pretty incredible. It's Jim Lujan, so check out Jim Lujan's channel. He's a great animator, and he makes full-length feature films. One which he's working now called Full Fungus, which I'm actually in. Let me show you guys real quick. Let's go here, and I'll just show you. Boom. That is me in the Full Fungus as me. Go to Jim Lujan's channel to find out more. He said, "Have you taken a close look at the plates in the background of that bumper?" Yes, they're great. There's a lot of little shout outs and little indications of stuff, including, I believe, maybe my memory's off here, but I think one or two of them are little Full Fungus shout outs. Oh, and I think he's talking about the plates themselves. The plates. Now I'm forgetting the plates. Let me I have to look at the plates the next time we play it. Well, maybe we'll play it a second time. And this time really analyze the plate. Because I know the images, and I think I did notice the plates, but now I am forgetting the plates. And much like any wild rabbit hole, the Lujan verse is full of little fun things, and I love that about Jim's stuff. I remember the first time I did a comic, seriously did a comic. It's called Numb, and I did a scene in a bookstore, and I was so excited to have the opportunity to basically have every book be books I like reading or books that I wanted to shout out. And so like in that book, like there's like a bunch of different books that I'm shouting out in the bookstore, because I was like, sweet, I can fill a bookstore with a bunch of name drops, like, um, and that is one fun thing, is being able to put little, shout outs and little, little indications for people who are like paying attention into your work, and she does that all the time, like all the way to like soda cans, beer labels, that kind of stuff. And is in Wuhan always have some kind of deeper meaning or a little reference to reward those who pay attention. I'm curious about that, actually. Jim, when did you start kind of doing that? I guess probably your earliest stuff, huh? When did you start throwing in little things for the viewers, little rewards, Easter eggs? Thank you, Dylan. I was blanking out on the word Easter eggs. But yeah, I'm kind of curious when you started doing that, Jim. I feel like Easter eggs are just kind of a natural byproduct being a creative, but Jim does a lot of Easter eggs, great ones too. Let's see here. Okay, we're getting, guys. We're on panel 3, and panel 4 and 5 are going to go super quick. So I think that we're probably going to stream for about 30 to 40 more minutes, which is great because that works. This might be one of the rare times where I want to finish by lunch, and I actually finish by lunch. So we can all hang out and then have lunch afterwards. What do you guys think about that? Yeah, what do you think about that? Yeah, see, yeah. You know what? I will say, this is a random thought, but I think that sometimes I miss that the gangster voice from like the 40s, where it's, I was like, it'd be a shame if something happened to you, store, that kind of thing. That guy, where he's like, look here, see, like the villain who's just saying, see. I don't know. There's something great about that I kind of enjoy in old movies. Something great about the gangster is like, here's how it's gonna go, see. There's just something great about that. Let's continue. Oh, I should mention, I'm trying to be a shill here for Wish, or Temu, not Wish. My goodness. So Temu has. This is something I get from Temu all the time. They have like clip tuners, like the little. It's like these little tuners. They clip onto your guitar, and they sell them for like $1. And these things are amazing. And you can get them for like $1 or $2 on Temu. So yeah, there's a 30% off Temu thing in the notes. If you play music and you want clip tuners for your guitar, or you have a clip tuner and you're like, dude, I'd like 10 of these, then click that link and it will give me a little kickback for referring you. Make sure you put in code. There's like a code in the show notes. And that will give me a little bit help doing the show that I'm doing, and it will also give you a cool product for a real cheap price. I love their little clip tuner. Those things are indispensable. And you have to remember, like, the time that I originally took up playing music, you used to have to like buy tuners. I don't know, Jim would probably remember this, but like you used to have to get like a tuning pedal. And like a tuner that like was like it's kind of similar to a pedal. I had one that was rectangular, it was a chromatic tuner, and those things would cost you like $80. And now you can pretty much have like a tuner on your phone. You can just download an app to be a tuner, which is crazy. So you can have a free tuner, or you can like get a clip tuner, which is just on your guitar, and it's like super easy. Those things used to be so expensive. It's kind of crazy. Dylan said, "Isn't that transatlantic accent?" Yeah, I think it was called mid-Atlantic. But yeah, like a fake accent. Although I don't know if the Gangster one was a transatlantic accent, because like the Gangster one was like a yeah, see here, copper. But then like the transatlantic is like the more like Audrey Hepburn kind of not Audrey Hepburn, Catherine Hepburn voice. It's like, and I'll tell you what we're gonna do. Say thou, hello thou, or like the newsreel guy, the newsreel voice where it's like news on the march. Like that was the mid-Atlantic or transatlantic accent, which was made by Hollywood. But the specific like gangster accent, I have no idea what that was. I don't know if there's a term for that other than 40s gangster voice. I would love to hear gangster rap from the 1940s. And it's done in that voice. It has to happen. Come on. Wouldn't that be amazing? Like 1940s gangster would be. Somebody has to have done that as a bit. If Christopher Runciman is watching this, he needs to do a comic. That's 1940s gangsters doing 1940s gangster rap. They're like, yeah, see? Look here, see, kid? It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. That has to be a thing. And it would be done to like jazz or like music or something. Anyhow, I'm sure somebody must have. This is the thing with comedy. Somebody had to have done that. That's just too obvious to not have done. Jim said, "I've never had a clip tuner. I might try that." Well, if you do and you get it through Temu, make sure you put in that promo code, and that way I get a little kickback for your order. But yeah, and the great thing is they're so cheap that if you like break it, you can just order another. Like I love it. I don't know. It's things like that, or like string winders or capos. Not strings though. I will be honest. Even though I would get a kickback for it, I'm not going to tell you. I would actually recommend do not order strings from Temu. Strings are one of the things that China does not do well. They don't make good strings. They just don't make good guitar strings. So don't still like a Dario or or like Slinkies or something like that. Like don't do not order strings from China. They'll be cheap. They'll cost less, but they will they're not good. No, good strings. But like fret wire tuners, like things like that, like you can get really good stuff. Bridges, like if you need a new bridge for your acoustic, that kind of thing. Or just again, like if you need like markers for art. Some art supplies on there are pretty decent. But and I wouldn't be like ordering, fine oil paints from Temu. you know. Yeah. Let's see here. So we have our we got this this going here. Gonna be a flame color. That will add a little bit of time because I'm going to have to color hold that. But what I want to do now is her skin tone. We're making pretty good time here, guys. Making pretty good time here. Part of why you might have thought transatlantic is that Great Death Cab for Cutie album, transatlanticism. That might have been what was on your mind. But yeah, that the story of that Atlantic accent is really funny too because nobody actually talked like that. And there's actually I don't know if you guys have ever seen Some Like It Hot. That's one of the best comedies ever made. I highly recommend see the original Some Like It Hot. But there's a scene in it where they kind of make fun of Cary Grant because the main character in it decides to use Cary Grant's like voice and cadence, where he's pretending to be a really rich guy and he's basically talking like Cary Grant. And there's a point where where he goes, "Nobody talks like this," and it's like it's true. Nobody actually did talk like that at the time, except actors, you know. Because it was like I don't know, for somehow it just became like the in vogue thing. Um, you know, where it's like it's almost like the way people used to act doing Shakespeare. Back in the day, there was like a Shakespearean cadence that like nobody used, and for a long time they would like train people how to Shakespeare in like Shakespearean language and lingo, um and it's really weird 'cause even in Shakespearean times, like it's not like the actors used like a Shakespearean way of acting. They just kind of acted. But then there was this trend, you know, in the 40s and 50s where it's like if you were doing Shakespeare, you had to like roll your R's and like do this like real like almost overacted thing, like the Laurence Olivier kind of style of doing Shakespeare. Like that, just one of those weird acting trends, you know. It wasn't bad. It's just an interesting trend. Like I love a lot of the movies that like think good example like Cary Grant has a movie called Bringing Up Baby, and it is Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn. It's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. I quote it all the time. I love that movie. It's like a screwball comedy from, you know, from that era with like real fast talking humor. I love that. Like I love it, but it is interesting seeing like how did that cadence or way of talking like kind of become like a thing in like vaudeville that ended up on screen. Almost with panel 3, which will leave us with 2 panels left to go and get us off stream just in time for a delicious and tasty lunch, which I'm very excited about. What are you guys up to this lovely Saturday? I said Saturday and it's Sunday. That is how on point I am today. How are you guys doing this lovely Sunday is what I meant to ask. It's actually a pretty nice day today. Yesterday was like unbelievably hot. Like the weather was kind of ridiculous here. I feel really bad for my friends in Arizona because I feel like anytime that we have bad weather, the people I know who live in Arizona are having like 5 degrees worse. And I'm like, "Oh, I feel bad for Arizona." But then I also think, well, our property taxes suck here, and like it's very expensive to live in California. So I don't know. I guess that 5 degrees of difference is worth it. I don't know. Like, I feel like Arizona gets a discount, is all I'm saying. Although, honestly, I think there are some places in Arizona that are definitely more expensive than like where we live, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, that, yeah. Dylan said, you're making your way through. Nice. Yes, this is going to happen. This will happen. I think just feel the joy of like getting this done real quick. Ooh, did I give her blue eyes? That would be a problem. She doesn't have blue eyes. Shame. Shame. Okay. I need to correct her eye color on that panel. Eyes suddenly became blue. That's not good. And now I'm going to do her eye color here. What's great is I think we're going to be done very soon. Very soon. The nice thing about pages like this is they take a bit of time to shade. They definitely take a while to pencil. But when you have close-up shots like that, like the coloring, when you're coloring in this kind of method that I'm using, it goes so quick. Okay, so I'm gonna deselect his eyes. Let's get all the white here. The whites of his eyes. Yeah, I will say that I was talking about this yesterday about just feeling really inspired, and I don't want to like overkill it. Yeah, like I don't know what it is that's hit me the last few days. Just it's almost like when you're a kid, you know, on a rainy day when you're like when you can't go out to recess at school and you're like stuck in a classroom and you know everybody's got, you know, Connect 4 out and Uno and or what was that? I don't know, maybe my wife will remember, but there was like I think it was called Critters or something. It's like you like build these bugs. Anyhow, there were a lot of like weird, interesting toys and plastic things that would be, you know, at schools for like a rainy day, right? But as an art kid, those were like great days because you're stuck inside and you can just draw, you know, and you got all these drawing materials in the classroom usually, you know, so you've got access to like markers and crayons and it's time to get creative, you know. It's the being like reined in thing. So okay, we're gonna deselect this dress here. But anyhow, so there's like this crazy inspiration when you're a kid and you're into drawing, and it's like a rainy recess day where you're like, it's like you and a piece of paper and a bunch of art supplies and boredom, like, and your mind starts kind of coming up with stuff, and you get creative. It's like a really fun, inspiring time. At least that's what I remember from rainy days in elementary school. At school. Similar thing. It's like I've just been feeling that kind of vibe of just like really wanting to play with some art side and get creative. And I gotta enjoy it when those come because like those moments don't always last and they don't always come. And you can't just kind of wait for feeling inspired to do projects and stuff because you're just, you know, in order to kind of be a creative, you have to just kind of force inspiration almost. I don't know if that makes sense, but not force inspiration, but like show up, you know, and then it'll come. But there are definitely times where it's way more intense. And I've definitely been feeling that the last week or so. Okay. Dylan said, "The muses have blessed you, Joshua." Nice. Dylan also said it's supposed to be 97 degrees today where I live in Arizona. Yep. And he also said, "Shameth upon ye. For shame." I think that was in regard to the eye color. Okay. We are getting there, guys. We're gonna get this hair. It's hair colored. Stash. Interesting stash here. And the hair here. And we're going to be finished in just about the right amount of time because I am starting to get hungry. I'm starting to get a little hungry, guys. Starting to get a tiny bit. And my wife said she got me a chicken sandwich because she's awesome. That's why. She didn't say she was awesome. I said that, but she did say she got me a chicken sandwich.
Everything is awesome.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of the team. Everything. Okay, so we have our hair here, and we're deselecting the hair. Hair Deselector is one of my favorite indie bands. I kind of stole Jim Luhan's bit there. Jim has a recurring bit where if he hears something that sounds like a garage band, he'll be like, "That was a great garage band in the 90s," or whatever. But Hair Deselector does sound like an interesting hardcore band. Or you know what they'd be is like a dub band that played with like Mars Volta. Welcome to Hair Deselector. Okay, and they can play with Suit Deselector because we're going to deselect our suit here. So we're really close to done here, which is very exciting. Makes me very happy. Getting work done is a really nice feeling. Working can be exhausting, sometimes, but there is nothing better than like being able to tick something off the list. The list of things to do. Okay. And then we're basically going to deselect this part. I just want the part of his mouth still selected, right? I'm going to make that darker. And then we need the spot behind him. Finally, we'll go ahead and get rid of the background here. Do. And we'll get rid of the background here. And then we'll do our hair color here, our haar. Dylan said, "Did I lose my Pentel color artist brush pen? If so, shameth on me. Shame on thee, sir. Thine Pentel brush pen doth protest." Okay, we have almost gotten to the complete stage. The only thing that I have left after this face is to do the color hold on that slight bit of flame that we're showing. That should go pretty quickly. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, though. There is two more color fills to do here. We're going to do the lips. And then we're going to do the skin tone. All right. We're almost there, guys. Boom. There's just one last thing, which is here. I want to do, select this. I actually want to just do a color hold on the line. So I'm going to actually select the whole bit here, and then we'll deselect here. And then we're going to cut our line from the drawing part. Oh, I want it to go all the way here. There we go. Now I'm going to cut that line and I go to edit, paste in place. And then I'm going to go to here and look at what colors I was using for my color holds. There we go. And we'll pick like the darkest spot here. Go here. Make sure I've got my transparent pixels locked. So we're color holding that line. Maybe that'll be a little bit more extreme. I'm liking it. I'm digging that. Okay, and then the last part that we're going to do is our shading. It's going to be here. And I want to go to my shading layer, cut that. I'm going to go to edit, paste in place, lock that, fill it. Maybe darken that a little bit. Oh, if I can. And saturate the heck out of it. Cool. I'm happy with that. I'm going to go ahead and save. I will print this and then we'll call it a day. So thanks, guys, for hanging out while I did this color stuff. If you haven't yet, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications when I'm about to go live. Also consider, if you want to get any stuff from Temu, a kickback if you click that link or you include that promo code that's below. Guys, I will see you guys on the next live stream, and have a good Sunday evening or day afternoon. Groove on this Sunday afternoon, you guys. All right, I'll see you on the next one, and have a good one. Bye, guys.